Quickly, I'm going to talk about something. Actually, I think it really shows the role and the beauty and actually the power that our Jewish mothers have. All the girls that are here are going to be the future Jewish moms. But let's connect it to what happens in this week's portion. This week's portion talks about Jacob. After he got married, he's coming back from outside of the land of Israel into land of Israel. What happens to his most beautiful, the wife that he loved the most? She's pregnant on the second child, Benjamin. And unfortunately, she has difficulty during the pregnancy. She passes away. Benjamin is born an orphan on the spot. So now the Torah tells us, what would a good husband do? Tell me, if somebody dies on the road, where would you take her to be buried?
To a grave.
To a grave, to a normal cemetery, You don't just bury somebody on the road. You don't do that. No, I hope nobody does that. So the Torah tells us that Jacob buried Rachel in the middle of the road. If anybody has gone to Israel, to the tomb of Rachel, still in the middle of the road. There's no cities around. That protecting wall, so no terrorists will attack. But really, there's nothing around, up to today. But the Torah doesn't give us a reason. Why did he bury his wife in the middle of the road? It's not normal. And then, the question is even bigger. When Jacob himself dies, he's on his deathbed, he calls Joseph, the firstborn of Rachel, I want you to carry me out of Egypt and take me to that cave, which is in Hebron, very holy place. That's where Adam and Eve are buried, according to the Jewish legend. Adam and Eve are buried in Hebron. That's why it's a very, very holy site, besides Abraham and Isaac and their wives. So then Joseph has a problem. He says, Daddy, I don't understand. If this is so important that you want me to leave Egypt, he was the viceroy, the second to the king. You want me to leave everything to take you there? It's so important. Why didn't you do it for my own mother? That's not fair. So really, the Torah doesn't give an answer. But there is a medrash that I'm going to share with you. The oral Torah says what Jacob told Joseph was, I did it because this was a commandment of God. So she should be a help for her children in the future. Now it's very, whatever, different. What does this mean? So you see, the Jews went to exile a few times. The first time that they went to exile was when Nebuchadnezzar, if I'm saying correctly, in Hebrew is Nebuchadnezzar, but this Nebuchadnezzar was the king of Babylonia. So he sends his general and he takes all the Jews to exile. It happens to be that they passed by where Rachel was buried. And the soul of a person is found more on the burial place. That's why we always go to visit. It's not just, to comfort ourselves. When we go, let's say, for our grandparents, great-grandparents to the burial place, because their souls are there. So when we pray, they get actually a little bit of a satisfaction. So the Jews were taken to exile. They were going to pass by the tomb of Rachel. And Rachel is going to pray for them. He's going to say, God, I don't understand. What did the Jews do wrong? They worshipped idols? You shouldn't get jealous of them. I brought my sister under the wedding canopy. You know the story, right? The father switched them. Rachel was supposed to get married to Jacob, so the father-in-law switches it. He brings the older daughter. Says, I could have been jealous of my sister, but I held my jealousy back, and I'm only a human being. God, you're greater than that. So my children went and worshipped some idols. Why are you getting jealous of them? So God says, just for that you held back your jealousy, I'm going to bring them back in the land of Israel. So that was the reason that Rachel was buried on the road, was a commandment of God to Jacob, and actually Rachel agreed to it too, before she passed away, in order to be a help for the children. Now, what does this have to do with us? You see, we live in a Western world. Really, what's the role of a woman these days, right? It's very, very bad the way the Western world does that. They have to dress in a certain way, in order to attract boys to look at them. Really, all the designers are usually men, aren't they? And they only make the clothes in a way that they want men to look at women. And unfortunately, when these clothes come out, everybody wears them. Yeah, that's cool, man. I sometimes see the guys, the boys in Taft, they have their pants down and the underwear shows. So I said, why do you do that? He says, it's cool. I said, the only cool thing is that more wind gets in there. But there's nothing cool about it. If it's more air gets in there. If it's really cool, why doesn't Mr. Steiner dress like that? Because it's not cool. If you ask me, I'm using a bad word. I think it's retarded. Forgive me. You're looking for attention. There's something lacking. But again, we call it cool. Maybe that's the reason what it is. But anyways, what have we learned from you people? Honestly, going back to our speech, what's the difference of being buried in that holy cave or being buried in the middle of the road? In that holy cave, they said that's the opening to Gan Eden, to paradise. And that's where Adam and Eve were created. There's a certain spiritual satisfaction. That's what Jacob wanted to have. Rachel, our mother, was willing to give up that spiritual satisfaction to be a help to pray for her children in the future. This is what a Jewish mom is. You know, men go to synagogue all the time, right? They go to the Torah, they pray 3 times a day, they could go to Yom Kippur to the synagogue. What happens to you when you have a little baby? You can't go to the synagogue on Yom Kippur. What are you going to do? You have to stay at home with the child. But isn't it so spiritual to go pray to God on Yom Kippur? But you are higher than that. You're willing to give up your spirituality for the sake of the Jewish children in the future. This is what a Jewish mom is. So if anybody comes and tells you, you know, in Orthodox religion, women are second-class citizens. They don't go up to the Torah. They sit on the other side of the mechitza. You know what I'm saying? No, it's not. You have a much higher job. You're willing to give up your spiritual satisfaction in order to be helpful for the future generation. Again, I'm not here to, God forbid, say bad about anybody, but you know, guys, they always say that the reform and the conservative, they respect the women more because they go up to the Torah and they do all these things. I have an opposite thing. According to Orthodox religion, what after who does the child's religion go? The mom or dad? The mom. If the mom is Jewish, the child is Jewish. If the dad is Jewish and the mom is not, the child is not Jewish. The reform and conservative changed that too. No matter which one of the parents are Jewish, the child is Jewish. That was the greatest thing that you women had. The entire Judaism depends on you, and they've taken it away from you. So obviously, I'm saying that Orthodoxy has a great, great value for Jewish women. You actually sacrifice your satisfaction for the future generation. And I just wanted to add, you know, you're not here for somebody else to dress. I'm going to ask one of the girls here. I hope you're not going to feel uncomfortable. Let me ask you, if you dress not properly, you become more beautiful? No. You become more attracting, not even attractive. You become more attracting to the boys to look at you. But you're not a cheap thing for boys to look at you. You're much higher than that. You actually send a message. My physical beauty is not my entire being. There's something deeper about me. My emotions, my intellect. I'm not going to show myself that you should look at me. You understand what I'm saying? So remember that you are these are the best words that I can use. You're wonderful. You're much higher than that. And know who you are and actually take pride in whoever you are. You're not here to impress somebody else. You could be attractive, but not attracting. Big difference.